Ever wondered what would happen if you lost your developer environment? How do you feel about having to do all that work again? What about if you spot a problem days later and you need to go back to some previous values? Can you remember what value you changed in that flow? What about if you were on holiday and someone changed it more than 7 days ago? Have you ever seen someone else delete a website record by mistake and watch as all of the other records go as well? Well, today I'm going to take you through how to pipeline your developer environment on a schedule to Azure DevOps and an Azure DevOps repo, so that you can view the unpack solution components and therefore see what's changed and go back to previous changes. I'm Tech Tweedy. Let's get started. Here we are in a DevOps environment, and we're going to create a new pipeline, and it's going to be stored in our Git repository. This is the starter pipeline, and we're going to give it a run to make sure we've got the right permissions and resources in place to continue. As you can see, this pipeline has failed. So let's investigate. And upon investigation, we can see that it's failed because we need to request parallelism. And to do this, we fill out the Microsoft form listed in the error. The form's quite easy to fill out, 4 simple questions, and it takes around 24 hours or so to come back. Once it comes back, let's give it another run. And as you can see, this time it's completed successfully. That's brilliant. The next step will be to edit our pipeline and to pop some jobs in relating to our Dataverse environment. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the naming convention of our pipeline runs. And we're going to call them the team project name, the build definition name, the source branch name, and then the date. And this just keeps things nice and clean and orderly in our pipeline runs. Following that, we're going to update some variables. These variables are used throughout the pipeline and just make things a bit quicker when we're copying and pasting things around. We're going to also add a trigger. This trigger is to schedule the flow to run at certain times. So it's going to run at midnight, 1 o'clock, 6 o'clock, days 1 to 5 of the week, which is Monday to Friday. Let's go and grab our service principal from our service connections. And this is how we access Dataverse. Paste this in. Next, we need to get the solution name. And we're going to copy this from the name field, not the display name field. And finally, we're going to grab the website ID. Personally, I find it easiest to grab this from the portal management app, play the app, navigate to the website record, and then copy the ID from the address bar. The next thing we need to do is we want to change over the type of image we've got from Ubuntu to Windows. So let's do that. And then we're going to add a step to check out our repository at the beginning of our pipeline. So we can then update whatever code is currently contained in our repository before checking it in at the end. Now we're going to add the Power Platform build tools. Now, if you don't have the Power Platform build tools available, I will be putting out another YouTube video showing how to add these. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add the Who Am I step, and this just confirms we've got connections to Dataverse. Let me just update the service principal to be my variable. Let's give the job a run and let's see if it's all working. That's fantastic. It looks like it's all completing successfully. There we go, that job's completed. So now we're going to edit our pipeline and we're going to add some more steps in that relate to backing up our solution. The first one's going to be to select the set the solution version. Just going to put some holder variable values in here, and then I'm going to update them in the YAML. Our service principal name needs to be formatted like this in order to pull the variable in, and our solution name, very similar, but let me just swap over the variable it's using. And for the solution version number, we're going to use the build ID in order to make sure it's unique each time. Next, we're going to add a step to export the solution. And first of all, we're going to export it as managed. Once again, very similar steps. We need to grab the service principal. Now you'll see we can't paste our variable in, so we have to select something. But we can paste it in for our solution name. For our solution output file, we're going to bring it in and we're going to store it in a temporary directory called the build artifact staging directory. And there you can see I've added it in and it's gone a bit wrong. So let's copy and paste that down below and let's tidy this up. And now we're going to create a step to export the unmanaged solution. And to do that, we're just going to copy and paste the YAML from the step before and then edit it slightly. And as you can see, we can press on the grey settings and access the GUI for any step we want to. So we've got access to it both in YAML and in the GUI. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a step to unpack our solution. And I'm just going to put some holder values in here because personally I find it easier to edit in the YAML. And the input file is the output file of the previous step. And then the target folder, go into a slightly different directory. Go to the build sources directory, and today I want to save it in a folder called src solutions and then the name of the solution, but you can save it wherever you want really. I would be careful not to make the directory structure too deep. And the type of unpack we want is we want to unpack both of them. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to run some command line to commit our repository back. So commit our code back to our repository. So as you can see here, we're setting some commands to set our username, our email. Then we're going to add all of the files that are in our build sources directory, and then we're going to commit those to our repository. So let's give this a test and let's see if it works. Our job initializes, and the first thing it's going to do is to check out our current repository. Then it's going to install the Power Platform tools, do the whoami command, then it's going to set the solution version before exporting the solution. Remember, we're exporting it as managed first, before then exporting it as unmanaged. One thing to note, while it's exporting, you'll notice there's a percentage. That's not the percentage that the solution is exported. That's the percentage of the max time allocated that has been used. And as that completes, the next step is going to be to unpack the solution before then committing the solution to our repository. And as we can see there, the commit steps failed. So let's see why. And as you can see, we're missing a permission. So let's go and grant our permission. To do that, we need to navigate to the repositories, and then security, and then for the build service, we need to allow contribute permissions. Let's give that pipeline a run again. Let's see if it works. And as you can see, that's worked that time. Checking over the repository, you can see all of our components of our solution defined as XML. In a future video, I'll show you how you can change these and how you can see where changes have been made to them by users as the solution is developed. I'll also show you how to unpack certain elements like Canvas apps further, and how to document out using some documentation scripts based on the solution components. In my next video, I'm going to expand on the pipeline so we can extract more from our developer environment. If there is anything you want me to cover, any of the prerequisites you want me to dig into further in more detail, then please drop me a comment below and I'll help where I can, and I'll maybe create a video on them. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe and stay safe.